again. Yep. So welcome to the second round of Club Officer Training for Division G. So I'm very pleased to be welcoming Kit, who's going to be talking about the moments of truth. That's where we look into our clubs to see what's going on and how we can improve things. Yeah, Kit, as well as being an esteemed public speaker, is a relentless volunteer for Toastmasters. So I would like to thank him for all the help over the last couple of years, actually. He's helped me in a few competitions, and always there to help out, right? So thanks very much for that, Kit. And over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Welcome, everyone. This morning, I was sitting wondering which of DCP and Moments of Truth I dislike most within Toastmasters. They both have their places, but I think they have their place if used right. So I'm not a massive advocate of Moments of Truth done wrong, but it can be useful if done right. I will be doing some interaction during the course. I think most of you heard that. So I'll be asking you to pop up with your phones and do some interaction with me shortly. This is meant to be interactive. There will be some formal interaction, but if you've got any questions or points you want to raise, any of your experiences, there's lots of experience in the room, please just chip in, shout out, throw something at me, attract my attention one way or another. So this is a meta presentation. It's a presentation about a presentation. That Moments of Truth is something we run at club level. So this is about running this at club level, what you should do, some ideas about how to do it, and again, as I was saying, sharing of information around that. The point of the Moments of Truth program, project, whatever you call it, is to help you think about how your club is run, to develop the club, to work out what you're doing well, and quite possibly informing a club success plan, assuming you've got one of those and you're going to take any notice of having done it. Oh, don't you just love the technology? Moments of Truth is part of the Successful Club series. So there's a whole series that's still available as far as I know. It's not part of Pathways, but they are still available, I believe, which help the club officers or anybody in the club who wants to run a program to improve the quality of the club. It can be difficult to get these projects into a club meeting because people want to speak. But there are definitely benefits to running educational type sessions, and if that is items from the Successful Club series, it has a long-term benefit for the club. So there's these various different items from the Successful Club series, and Moments of Truth is one of them. And let's decide what to do. So who benefits? What clubs benefit from the Moments of Truth? Is it just struggling clubs? No, I'm glad somebody said that. Why would a struggling club want to run a Moments of Truth? And why would a successful club want to do that?
Struggling to find out what they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Successful to find out what they're doing right.
That's true, but also it can be easy if you're a successful club to be a bit blasé about stuff. That you've got plenty of members, so you don't think you need to be doing very much with your new members. People come through the door, we've got plenty of members. If we don't serve their needs and they leave, it's not a problem. So even if a club is successful, there may well be things that the club could learn from its membership. Yeah?
And to your point, I think it's important to understand that if a club is successful in one moment, it doesn't mean that we'll be in the next moment. So
Indeed.
It's how to maintain the relevance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And growth.
Yeah.
And it can either invalidate or validate assumptions.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah. So I used to live in Qatar. The most successful club in Qatar, the club that hit all the goals the earliest, that won all the awards in the district, had 60 or 70 members. And they invited me along to do a presentation like this. and we learnt useful information within that session, and they changed some of the things that they did. You know, they were as successful as they possibly could be, the most successful club in the district that has been the most successful district year after year. They still ran a Moments of Truth, and they still got something useful out of it. So yeah, it is worth doing that, not just for struggling clubs. Moments of Truth, there is a manual and it explains a whole bunch of things, but what else could you do? Instead of running a Moments of Truth, the formal thing going through the manual, what other way could you find out about the club, how the club is doing?
Ask your members.
Basically ask the members, yeah. I mean, fundamentally, Moments of Truth is asking the members, but you don't have to run through that formal process. There are other ways that you could ask the members. Do you need to involve the members? I think it's a good idea, but actually some of the questions are much better discussed within the committee. So are our membership numbers healthy? Asking the members whether there's enough members doesn't strike me as being a terribly useful conversation. So there are some things that the committee themselves can look at, and actually if you go through the manual or the highlights within a committee meeting, you can probably get 90% of the answers just from talking within the committee. So you could just review it at a committee meeting. You could run just an overview presentation for the club members, doing a kind of an informal, low-level sort of a Moments of Truth. You could have the full interactive presentation, so you split into groups and do your thing. I know of clubs that have spent half a meeting or the whole meeting doing Moments of Truth. I think as a member, I would feel a little bit shortchanged about that. That I think it's too introspective, that it's too much kind of looking for patting on the back, and that what can tend to happen with those sorts of things is that members don't feel that that was a valuable meeting, and that the louder voices in the room tend to dominate the conversation. So, could be done that way. And if you really wanted to do it, you could split out the Moments of Truth presentation into the 6 highlighted areas and run one of those in each meeting. And I think that would be a really bad idea. Okay, it would be very engaging, but if the club is doing okay, I'm not convinced that that's great use of club meeting time. That's what the manual looks like. That lots of this information is available in that manual. I believe it's available electronically for download. I didn't actually check. I'm fairly sure it is. When delivering the session, so we're running a session, talking to the club membership, tone, I think, is really important. That it can sound, if you get it wrong, like hectoring or searching for compliments. So the tone, the way it is addressed, we want to do this so that we the committee can find out where we can work together to do things better. And asking membership about things that are in the control of the committee doesn't kind of land right with me. That it needs to involve the members. Of course, we should be polling the involvement of the members, but at the same time, being conscious that asking them how we're doing is one thing. Asking them how we should do our job, or if we, it's a tone thing, and it's pretty easy, I think, to get that tone wrong. If you get the tone right, that involves buy-in of the membership. That the non-committee members are involved because they see the point of doing it for themselves. So it gives them the opportunity to say, we ought to do this. I think, this would be a good thing to do. And that's maybe the most important bit, honest feedback. That if somebody has joined Toastmasters because they're shy about speaking in public, they may not be keen on saying, when I joined, nobody spoke to me for 2 weeks or 2 meetings or something. I never had an induction. I never was offered a mentor. We need to recognise that the newer members may not necessarily be willing to stand up and say that in front of the club. So getting that honest feedback can be a challenge, particularly if you're just asking for feedback from the audience. Okay, so that's a little bit of background, a little bit of how we should do this sort of thing. What is it? What needs to be in there? So this is kind of as if we were running the presentation with the club members. So these slides are based on the manual, and it runs through the things that if we were doing this kind of formally within the club, we'd be talking about. And these are a couple of quotes from the manual, what the point of it is, and so on. And the reason we do this is to try to run a high quality club. To a very large degree, the committee ought to be fairly well aware as to whether the club is running high quality meetings, whether it's recruiting people, whether they're meeting their goals, and so on. But that's the point. It's to encourage a high quality club, and some of the markers of a high quality club are listed here. I've gone one click ahead of what I meant to do. What are the markers of a high quality club? So apart from encouraging and celebrating member achievement, what else marks a club as high quality or a meeting as high quality?
Clubs run well.
Yeah, that's kind of what constitutes a club being run well.
Members are engaged.
Yeah, members are engaged. Yeah, absolutely. That they want to take part. We're not having to chase people to take part. They're wanting to take part, willingly taking part. Indeed, a reasonable sized club with engaged members, they're fighting for roles rather than us going, we haven't got this role. Could somebody double up on a role?
People feel included.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
inclusion is very
Involved, included. Supportive environment. Yeah, I mean, people grow through it being a supportive environment. It's a supportive environment if they're getting good feedback, if they're getting the opportunity to speak, and so on. Professionally organised meetings. I've definitely been to some meetings, not my club, visiting other clubs, never happens in my clubs, where you show up and 3/4 of the roles are unfilled, and the first 20 minutes of the meeting is deciding what roles anybody's going to take. I've done that before now, showing up as an external judge where they hadn't decided who was going to take part as a contestant. That was completely bizarre. So yeah, a well-organised meeting, variety, people are taking those roles, it being planned well in advance, communicated well in advance, and so on. Club officers being trained, of course, that's also part. So when you're making your payments, you know that the treasurer isn't running off with your money and taking their boyfriend out for an expensive meal that evening.
Can I pick on the with variety part? Because Toastmasters, we can add a theme to the meeting.
Yeah.
But have you done much like with fancy dress, or have you done anything that's like thinking outside the box rather than just changing the word of the day?
So there's a club on the south coast. It's not Solent Speakers, is it? Spinnaker. Yeah, Spinnaker Club have gone way over the top with that. So they periodically not just themed meetings, but they go. They have massive special events. The last one that they did was called Court Chaos, and it was an enacted court hearing. So the people who were involved had been briefed for their roles of prosecutor, defence, whatever. So this entire meeting was people doing slightly prepared and slightly impromptu speaking, and it was a bit like a drama. It was a bit impromptu. There was a massive amount of planning that went into it. There were a lot of people involved because it was a great event, and it was quite a showcase for what we can do. So, you know, you want to take it to an extreme, go talk to Spinnaker. It was a lot of fun, actually. I was involved in it. It was really very well run, and the people, they did their research. So, you know, somebody was allocated a role of being an expert witness, a scientist expert witness, and had clearly spent hours reading around forensic whatever to be able to answer the questions. It was quite an event. Yeah. Anybody run kind of themes like that? Yeah.
No, but I've been in one. I've actually given a speech in pitch black at a Toastmasters meeting.
Oh right,
before,
okay.
Which was really interesting. It was a sort of stage with an auditorium, and they just had glow sticks going down the side.
Oh right.
Unfortunately, my speech was about move your body, and nobody could see it. So it very quickly became vocal variety.
Yeah.
It was absolutely brilliant because you didn't know who you were talking to. When you were giving feedback to people, you couldn't actually see where they were sitting.
Yeah.
And it really made you focus on very different things.
Yeah.
Also given a range of speeches all dressed as superheroes. That was really good fun as
Yeah.
well. I would highly recommend it. It's awesome fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ties with what you're saying. It's actually, to a certain extent, the variety is a personal responsibility. You as a member can just do something off the wall. I've done it loads of times. I've done
Yeah.
a fancy dress. I've done one in the dark.
Yeah.
With just one light on me.
Yeah.
Per individual member can take responsibility for that.
Yeah.
They do it if they want. Nobody stop them.
Yeah.
It starts with you. You start it.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think if a club is successful, you know, if they're managing all of the basic things, that's a brilliant way to go, to just add that little bit extra, make yourself stand out, is to do something special, and Spinnaker very, very much so do that. So, mentoring program, members have access to that. But I think that's something that tends to drop off the radar if a club is stressed, particularly if the VPE is stressed. That tends to drop off the targets, off the priorities. Mentoring program is really important for new members to join and to stay. I would say that mentoring is a critical success factor associated with that. And they get useful, supportive evaluations. So those are all things, and they achieve their goals. Fundamentally, clubs should be there for the members' goals. If the members are achieving their goals, they're going to stay as members. If they're developing, if they're achieving their goals, they're going to stay. So, the term moments of truth I found very weird, and it's kind of strange within the manual. So I just use the term. It could be, Jabberwocky, but it's what we talk about is again, this is from the manual. When you come into contact with something within Toastmasters, it's a moment of truth. Right, really? And how does that relate to membership numbers then? So this is from the presentation. I'm not sure that this